You are listening to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.
You're listening to Oscar's Guitar Shop with Oscar Jordan, right here on LA Talk Radio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Greetings and salutations. Hey, welcome to another episode of Oscar's Guitar Shop. I'm Vintage Guitar Magazine contributing writer Oscar Jordan, and I am burdened with glorious purpose. Yes, I am. Welcome to the Sausage Fest, ladies and gentlemen. The women are using esoteric martial arts to fight the great deals and get gifts and getting stuff everybody wants, and here we are together. It's just the two of us. It's just me and you together. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. Give yourself a hand. I'm glad you made it. It's raining outside, but we are together. We don't have to hold hands, but we're here. Hey, guess what? Check this out. I was interviewed in Guitar Coach magazine. So if you want to get in deep and find out why I'm such a great humanitarian and a mind-blowing guitarist, go check me out. It is at guitarcoachmag.com. Oscar Jordan, changing lives daily. Thank you very much. Yes, I would also like to thank my wonderful sponsors who have stuck by me in this hellish nightmare called life, particularly the great Ken Daniels of True Tone Music. I'd also like to give a shout out to Seraphim Markopoulos. That's a mouthful. Seraphim Markopoulos at Tone Concepts. Jim Campolongo and Johnny Marr are not crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Visit them at toneconcepts.com and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'd also like to thank my loyal Oscar's Guitar Shop listeners. You are the cat's pajamas. Give yourself a hand. Thank you for listening in. I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful that people have tuned in with their swollen bellies of tryptophan, and they decided to tune in with me. Would you like to help Oscar's Guitar Shop? Go to oscarsguitarshop.com and click donations to the show. Share the magic inside your wallet. Oscar's Guitar Shop is powered by Tone Concepts. Find out what Billy Gibbons, Nels Klein, and Alex Skolnick have on their pedal boards. Visit them at toneconcepts.com. Also, True Tone Music. Visit them at truetonemusic.com, making your music come to life. And last but not least, Mojave Ampworks. Visit the Oasis of Tone at mojaveampworks.com. Want to become a sponsor? Email me at oscarsguitarshop@gmail.com. And now, it's time. Gregg Wright is a tall person. He's also a force to be reckoned with within the blues community. His band took the top spot last week at the Southern California Blues Society's annual Battle of the Blues Bands. That night, he altered brain codes, healed the sick, and will be representing Southern California when they perform at the International Blues Challenge in Memphis on January in 2014. Gregg Wright is a seasoned veteran and the real deal, having paid his dues, opening for icons like Albert King and Freddie King. Since then, he's been making great music, utilizing a diverse palette of colors drawing from the African-American music experience. From blues, rock and roll, hard rock, R&B, and soul, you can hear it all in Wright's music. As a session cat and touring pro, he's worked with Mick Fleetwood of Fleetwood Mac, the Gap Band, Berlin, and Michael Jackson with the Jackson 5 on the legendary Victory Tour and album. He also plays a fine Beat It guitar solo written by Sir Edward of Van Halen. You probably recognize that name. He's been putting out one great blues record after the next, and it's a pleasure to have him on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gregg Wright. How you doing, Greg?
Doing good, Oscar. How you doing?
It is a pleasure to have you here. You look good in person, by the way.
It's great to be here.
How do you feel?
A little stuffed up on tryptophan, a little sleepy, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
How does it make you feel when men just whip off their shirts and women scream your name in the audience, just like now?
I really kind of don't notice that stuff when I'm playing.
All right, how about like this? When that happens, does that bring back like a sense memory of the craziness, the mayhem, the mosh pits?
Kind of gives me a good feeling, like I know like we're connected with the audience. Then
it's all about the love, man.
Yes.
So I've been we're connected because we live in Los Angeles. We play out. We were talking earlier that my band opened for you up in Long Beach, and we have mutual friends and Ron Battle and his wife, and we're connected, but we never had a chance to really sit down, and it's just great. Actually, the last time I saw you, you were at the Maui Sugar Mill a while back with Cadillac Zach.
Oh, his Monday Night Jam.
Yeah, and that was fun, and you were ripping it up. You're just smoking on guitar, and I just had a massive recall thing that you will not remember, but I do. This was early 90s. I'm going to say 94. Let's pick a number. 1994. Do you remember a club in Hollywood called The Central?
Quite well.
I saw you. That was the first time I ever saw you. And that was like a zillion years ago, it feels like. But that used to be the club. It's now the Viper Room. If people out in Radio Land who don't know what the hell we're talking about. The Central used to be the Viper Room. And it used to be the cool spot. And people would just go there to the jam. And remember the bass player there, Michael B. Holden. Michael B. Holden was the bass player in that band. And my other friend, Les July, used to play there. And on any given night, you can go and see, like, Richie Kotzen would be attempting to play funk there. And then I saw you, and I remember I was standing next to the guy, and I said, I recognize that guy. Who's that left-handed guy? Who is he? He goes, oh, yeah, that's the dude who played with the Jacksons, man. That dude is bad. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy. Because, I remember that. So that's like the first time I saw you. So there's this weird passing ships in the night kind of thing going on.
Well, that place, the Central, really was. It couldn't have been more aptly named because for me, it was ground central for springboarding my whole thing here in L.A. and beyond. Mm-hmm. When I first came here, I didn't know anybody, and just pretty much spent the first year just getting doors slammed in my face. And I was pretty discouraged, but, I won't take no for an answer, so I didn't go away. And a neighbor of mine told me about this jam that was going on. This was like in the early 80s. Mm-hmm. At this club on Sunset called The Central on Tuesday nights, and I should go there. So I went, and it was an international audience. And you could see and get a chance to play with anybody. I mean, it was like a who's who of music, you know. One night, one of the early nights I went in there, I found myself in a jam with Tim Bogert, who used to play with Beck Bogert and
Right.
And Keith Emerson. I mean, any of that kind of stuff could happen.
Yeah, you were there like in the heyday. I didn't move here till '90, so I caught the fumes after all the burning stuff was over. But I did catch some cool people there, and I think I played there once or twice myself. So tell me, you're talking about trying to make it, and it's the '80s, but you have been playing out a long time, like even like through the '70s. You were touring, right?
Yeah. And
there's stories of you know, your band opening for like Albert, you know, and Freddie, and doing the blues circuit. Tell me about your time in the '70s, coming through there to that point, say in the '80s.
Well, I came through the South because my dad was in the military, and his last assignment was in Washington, D.C., and that's where I graduated high school and started playing in bands. And as soon as I graduated from high school, a opportunity came up to play in Florida. There was a month-long gig in Florida, and the one thing led to another, and we ended up touring the South because you could do that in those days. And I ended up in Louisiana. I made some good friends with some folks in Louisiana and ended up staying there for 5 years. And while I was there, that's where I did my first recording session, first record. And we had a little local hit around the Baton Rouge, New Orleans area. And it kind of led to some pretty interesting things, like opening shows for Freddie King, opening shows for Albert King. We even opened for Bob Marley and the Wailers one time.
Wow.
And,
what year are we talking now?
We're talking like 76 through like 79, like in that period. And there was just a lot of that going on. You know, there's a lot of towns on Interstate 10 between New Orleans and Houston, especially in southwest Louisiana. So, yeah, that's what I did.
And how, at what point were you going to do a career move and say come out west? What was going on with your career in terms of your vision?
Well, you know, when I was in that early mid-'70s thing that took me to the South and to begin with, we actually used to play this place in Macon, Georgia called Grant's Lounge, and that was at the height of the whole Capricorn Records, Southern Rock, Gregg Allman thing.
Yeah.
Gregg Allman, Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker. And in that period, I actually got invited out here. We're talking like 1975. I got invited out here to come and play with Gregg Allman's solo band. And for whatever reason, the project never got off the ground. But boy, what an eye-opener for me. And that was the really first pro thing, big-time rock thing I ever did. And Louisiana was only supposed to be a pit stop on the way out here, but it ended up being a 4-year pit stop, you know.
So we're talking late 70s now, and you're out here in L.A. Crazy times.
Yeah, I came out here in 1980.
Okay.
And, yeah, it was still very much vibrant, you know, thriving music scene, thriving industry. And I couldn't wait to get my hands dirty.
What kind of connections did you make to enter, say, the session scene? Did you do any of that during the early 80s?
Yeah. The first one I did was Spencer Davis, and he was one of the guys that was a regular at the Central. I started doing... He had actually invited me to play guitar for him, so I stayed in Spencer's band for a while, and we did some pretty good shows, and I think we did a record together. And then one thing led to another, and then I ran into the Jacksons one night, and they invited me to come play a session, which turned out to be that Victory album. And from there, I just kind of kept snowballing. Okay,
now I'm not retarded. Just want you to know. So I'm not going to let you go with just saying, "Well, yeah, we met the Jacksons, then I played on the album." You know, we're not. We're going to get deep into this, but I have to go to commercial, and we're going to come back. We're going to go right in deep because I am fascinated. You're like my fourth Jackson's guitarist or Jackson guitarist on this program, and I need to know the nitty gritty because that whole Victory Tour album is legendary, salacious, great nitty gritty, and as my fans know. I'm all about the nitty-gritty. So I'm going to go and play one of my favorite songs that you have written and played on. The song is called With Your Bad Self. It's from the album King of the Rock and Blues. We're going to play it. I'm going to go to commercial, and then we're going to get in deep all about your fun and all the hijinks and the mayhem. It sounds like this.
Walk on down the street. Every single man in town just suffering from the heat. Gone with your bad self. Gone with your bad self. Well, I bet your money, honey, you can make a man feel so well. Oh, yeah. Honey, I can't explain what you do to me. Just a little wink and smile from you just knocks me off my feet. Gone with your bad self. Gone with your bad self. Well, I bet your bottom dollar you could make a man holler hell. Oh, happy baby. Yeah. My blues away. Gone with your bad self. Gone with your bad self. Let me tell you, pretty baby, you makes me stone crazy. Yeah, first. Woo! Play it on.
King of the rock and blues. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. King of the rock and blues. Am I right or wrong? Am I weak and strong? That's just what I'm saying. Your guitar tone can mean the difference between divine inspiration or boring twaddle. Tone Concepts makes guitar products for the discriminating artist. The Distillery is a guitar pedal, and it was designed for the tone sculptor. Created in collaboration with some of the greatest guitarists in the world, the Distillery allows you to shape your tone with your own rig or through any rented backline. If it gives you up to 20 dBs of flexible, transparent power or awesome tonal goodness, whatever rig you're using, the Distillery gives you the option of a clean boost along with a sophisticated tone shaping circuit. It bulks up thin tones or adds beautiful, clarifying resonance to thicker sounds. The Distillery is endorsed by some of the world's top guitarists. Nels Cline, Alex Skolnick, Steve Lukather, Billy Gibbons, Vince Gill, Dweezil Zappa, and Jim Campolongo have fallen in love with this pedal, and so will you. Hear it for yourself. Check out the distillery at toneconcepts.com. Yes. Because when you're traveling around the world, much like Gregg Wright, right, you say, this backline really sucks. So I need to fix that, and this distillery will change your life. I have it at home. I've been playing it, and it's a really great pedal. I'm telling you, it just takes all the crappiness or the craptastic nature from a rented backline and turns it into glorious light and glowing love. So check out that pedal, folks. That was a cool tune. I really dug that, man. You have so many influences, and you have twisted it all together for your own personal purpose, and I really appreciate that. I wish I was as talented, as smart as you. Can you show me how to do that?
Yeah, just be born with about 12 personalities for a start, and give you a pretty good head start.
Isn't there like a True Fire guitar lesson I can learn on like YouTube? How to be cool like you? Maybe you should do that. You make so much money, man.
Oh man, it for me is just it's a little radio in my head. That's all it is. And I just listen to that, and it just tells me what to do.
There you go. That's it, folks. You hear that? It's a radio in his head. He's not crazy. He's got something else going on maybe, but he's not crazy. So you're at the Central. And you're there jamming, and you see how many Jacksons do you see at the Central?
I saw Randy and Marlon and Tito.
And you start talking to them, obviously.
Well, no, I didn't actually. I kind of actually stood there going like, what in the world are they doing here? Mm-hmm. But they were just sitting there and just kind of checking things out and grooving on it, and I struck up a conversation with them. And, I became friendly with Randy. Mostly, and ended up doing some sessions for him, and just one thing led to another.
So, clarity is power, as we all know in Radio Land. So, did you do like demos for Randy or the guys, or did they ask you to play on the Victory album?
Initially, what would happen is I would take my guitar over to Randy's house, and we would just sit there and just throw ideas around. Mm-hmm. And looking back on it, basically, I think what was happening is he was just trying to feel me out and see if I was like for real, if I was kidding or just whatever. Mm-hmm. And from that point, I was working part time at Bill Lawrence's guitar shop on Sunset, which was on Sunset back in the early '80s, and they came in to have a guitar repaired. And it's it's like, it's you again. Yeah, it's me. And so we fixed the guitar, and then I kind of sat there and played it for him. And Marlon, he said, I got a song you might be perfect for. And that started the whole session thing, and it turned out to be the song Body that ended up on the Victory album. Mm-hmm. And from there, Randy came into the guitar shop one day, and he said, I need to talk to you. So I was like, yeah. So we went to lunch, and he said, would you be at all interested in possibly holding down a guitar spot for a tour my brothers and I are planning for next year? To which I promptly responded, no thanks. I'm quite happy here making my $2.50 an hour dusting up this little shop. Why would you ask me that? And, he said, we're not going to play favorites. It's like last man standing, you know. So I spent like the next I don't know how long just learning all their material inside out. A lot of their records have like 2 and 3 guitar parts.
Right.
And I just learned them all.
Did they give you a set list, or did you just start?
No, I just took it on myself to just start at I Want You Back to Thriller and everything in between.
Wow.
And I just learned it all because, they always say, what is it when
preparation
meets opportunity equals success.
There you go.
So that's what I was planning on.
Did you have plenty of time to get all that stuff? That's a lot of music, man.
A lot of music, but I'm very single track minded. You know, when it comes time to do something, you know, I had that singleness of purpose. So when the opportunity came, I was ready.
Wow. So, because because if you think about it, that's like the perfect way to audition for a band to impress them. Because like they don't give out a set list, and then they say, "Let's do I'll Be There," but we're gonna do it in B flat. And you go, "Okay, no problem. Ready? Wait." Some guy's going, "Wait, B flat and learn," but you're ready to go.
No, man, there was going to be no wait a minute. It was just going to be like, I told myself when I went into that audition, because the audition had about 250 guitar players out in the hallway, and they were all bad dudes. You know, I'm going to give away a company secret here, but if you go to auditions, guitar players, don't play your guitar in the hallway. Don't. Okay? It's too late. If you got to sit there in the hallway tinkling and plinkling, it's too late, man. You're out of there. Okay? And I came in dressed for the part. I came in dressed for the part, just like an actor goes to a reading. I came in dressed for the part. And I sat there just as cool, calm, and collected as I could be. And I just refused to pull my guitar out. I was already ready, And I could tell, because I have an athletic background, so I have a competitive streak, and I can look at like the way I used to look at other football players or other people that are going to throw discus or shot put. I could kind of size them up by looking at them, and just watching things that they do. And I could tell I was making some of these guys nervous. And, sort of like, well, what's with this guy, man? This dude's a little too cool over here. Maybe he's already got it. Oh, yeah, maybe, But it wasn't that. It was just coming prepared, And then you look the part and you throw down. It's kind of hard to say no to that. Even though I have to say the Jacksons are like class A #1 pranksters.
Really?
Oh, man. I was pretty sure I nailed that first audition, and they just went stone-faced, just, thank you. If we need you, we'll call you. Next. Get the next guy.
That is mean. No love. No comforting handshake or a pat on the back.
No, man. No, nothing. Just, they might as well have been Tom Landry, standing there just like no expression, just... And I went on my way, driving down the Ventura Freeway, just kind of confused, like, wow. Well, who's coming in there to play then, man? Who could be more prepared? So, a couple days go by, and I get a call. Yeah, they want you to come back for another one. Come back for the second one. There's instead of 250 guitar players, there's only about 15 of us. Same thing. I have to come even more prepared, So, come in. Had a great little audition, Didn't miss anything. Same thing. Yeah, well, thanks. We'll call you if we need you. I'm like, man, this is harder than I thought. Maybe I'm in the wrong business, Maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
It's a mind game.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that. Plus, I think they really kind of wanted to see if how easily or how hard it is to make you sweat.
Right.
Came down to the. Couple days later, got a third call to come for an audition. Now there's only about 4 of us.
Just to break in, because I love the detail. Who were the other 3 guys at the last audition?
I don't remember. I was talking to you earlier about having that sort of myopic focus.
Right. So you were focused on the getting this job, nailing, and you couldn't care about them.
Right.
All right, I got you. All right.
Right.
So what was this third audition?
I felt like I nailed it.
What did they have you play?
Well, the piece de resistance was they asked me to play the Beat It solo. And since I was already a rock and roll guitar player, that came very easily to me. And I know that year, Beat It had been the song of the year, so I knew there was going to be a heavy emphasis on that song performing. And I knew Michael would probably want to really have that song be as accurate as possible. So growing up with Hendrix and Cream and Jeff Beck and all that kind of stuff, well, this was just an extension of that, So it came really easily to me. So that was it.
They said, do the Beat It solo. Do it now.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yeah.
That's
I got to
cool.
play it for Michael one time when we were being introduced to him.
Mm-hmm.
He came into the rehearsal hall and he went to everybody's little station. Shook hands. Hi, man. I'm Michael. How you doing? What's your name? Oh, I'm so-and-so. I went, yeah, let me hear you play a little something. So he comes over to me last. And he says, oh, I'm Michael. I said, yeah, I'm Greg. How you doing? He says, yeah, man. He says, I heard you do a really, really wicked Beat It solo. Can you play it for me? And right then I thought to myself, well, should I do this polite and just sort of tiptoe through it, or should I just let this guy have it? Let him have it. Wham! So I gave it to him full throttle, man. Just, and he put his head down by that speaker, so I knew it really, it cleaned the dirt out of your clothes, pretty much.
That's great, man. Well, I want to get into playing on the record. That tour must have been amazing, because there's footage all over YouTube of you and the whole band and all these cities you played, and it just seems like the greatest circus on earth, just of all these people playing, all these great musicians. I'm going to play another one of my favorite songs from your catalog, and then I'm going to do a commercial, come right back. This song is the title track from King of the Rock and Blues. Goes a little like this.
Man, I got a little story I want to tell you. Check it out. Way on down in Texas, they got some guitar playing fools, pretty women, tequila and cactus, and a few armadillos too. Up around Henrietta, there was a young boy learning the moves, with a one big aspiration, become king of the rock and blues. Man, that boy can play. Short years later, that a young boy became a man. He hooked up with some buddies, and pretty soon they had a rockin' band. They played juke joints way past midnight, and every honky-tonk under the moon. In a two-tone beat-up Chevy, they had fun while paying dues. Let's go! Amarillo! Mississippi. Next stop, New Orleans. Baton Rouge. They
you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yes, I think we can dig it. I'm on board. Those were some smoking licks, man. Nice phrasing, lick galore, tone for days. True Tone Music is a virtual candy store for guitarists and bass players. They're world famous for having the best selection of new and used and vintage guitars in the Los Angeles area. Located at 714 Santa Monica Boulevard in the city of Santa Monica, True Tone Music offers the widest selection of exceptionally high-quality guitars and basses. They stock name brands like Fender, Gibson, Epiphone, Gretsch, and much more. Check out their wide selection of Martin acoustic guitars. Martin is the leading manufacturer of steel string flat top acoustics and synonymous with handcrafted excellence. True Tone Music is where the top names in the music industry shop for guitars, basses, amps, and boutique pedals. No lie. They'll also match any online price and back it up with top-notch customer service and support. Visit them online at truetonemusic.com or call 310-393-8232. That's 310-393-8232. Ask for Ken. Tell them Oscar sent you. Yes, do that. Go forth and buy stuff. Make yourself happy. But don't forget, tone is in the hands. Isn't that right, Greg?
I believe that.
Tone is in the hands. Yeah. But speaking of tones and guitars and all that stuff, correct me if I am wrong. You play upside down and backwards.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
I think we're actually guys like myself, Albert King, Dick Dale, Eric Gales.
Well, Eric Gales has his high string down though, but he's lefty.
Does he?
Yeah. Wait a minute. No, you're right. It is upside down and backwards because
they call and his brother.
And remember, Little Jimmy King.
He played that way.
Exactly.
Well, I think we're actually playing the right way.
Everyone else is all fucked up.
Well, the reason I say that is because if you look at the staff, the way the staff is written, well, if I stand there and look at the staff, the notes go from low to high. Well, when we play, the notes are from low to high. When right-handed people play, it's crisscrossing.
Right.
When you play low notes, they're coming from high, and you're working your way down to go higher. But the staff is doing the opposite thing. So I think whoever did the first guitar tabulation and notation some 500 years ago was probably what we now call dyslexic.
True that, because when you think about what you're seeing, the low E string is on the bottom.
Right.
When you're looking down, the low string is down, and any Albert King fan will tell you that sound of pulling down on a high E string is that's the sound. That's the tone.
It's a lot easier to work with gravity.
Yeah.
I mean, gravity pulls down buildings from the sky. So
yeah.
It's a lot easier to work with, So you pull downwards. You're going right with gravity. So you can just hang on to that indefinitely.
Yeah, and it's just something about I had a friend of mine years ago who was a Albert King impersonator, and he actually just did everything, strung up gear, everything just like Albert King, and that's one of the things. And there is a distinctive tone that has when you make that adjustment and start pulling down instead of bending up. Yeah. It's a great sound. Has that been a pain in the butt for you in terms of trying to get good guitars and trying to find lefty axes and people giving, hey, play this, man, and it's like all set up wrong and all that?
No, it never has been, because I never even, when I first started, I didn't even know there was a such thing as left-handed guitar. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really, honest to God, thought that there was just guitar and you either played it this way or that way. And that's that. And then when I went and bought my first chord book, well, all the chord diagrams were vertical. So
yeah, right.
Okay. ... C, and I didn't know until it was like, until I started playing in bands, I didn't even know it was quote unquote upside down and backwards. Mm-hmm. I just thought I was just left-handed. That's all.
Well, there you go. Well, it's you've done well for yourself, young man. and I'm very grateful, despite your disability. That's great. It sounds great, man. I love your phrasing. I love your tone, and it's just awesome stuff, man.
Thank you.
Getting back to your wonderful career, so you did the album, and here's another thing I want to mention. The level of competition. We're talking like late 70s, early 80s in LA. Everybody's a guitar player, and there was still studio cats, unlike today where everyone just kind of records in their bedrooms now and gets, they can Pro Tools, blah, blah, blah. Back then, there was major studios and recording sessions and people auditioning and more bands playing. This was like a glut of, it was guitar land.
Everybody was pro level. Everybody you encountered was pro level and would just blow your mind.
Yeah, and you had to survive in that, you know what I mean? It says a lot about you as a guitarist that you excelled with all these shreddy dudes and the funk dudes and the Lee Ritenours and Steve Lukather's are out here and all these guys,
Well, when I first got here, the first thing I realized, taking a look around at the terrain, was that I was going to have to really up my game. I had a pretty good basic set of guitar player tools, but now it's like I had to take everything I learned and everything I knew and everything I was eager to learn and sort of mold that all into one. And that was a bit of that was a learning curve for sure.
Could you be more specific? Like, what is it that you had to mold? Like your funk and your blues, your rock, your...
I would say one of the main things that really came into play was timing and phrasing.
Mm-hmm.
Timing and phrasing. It seems like if you had good timing along with good phrasing, the things that you play really would have an effect. Because before I came out here and I was in all those club bands and doing things and opening for people, you never really got to scrutinize yourself because you're always playing live.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came out here and started being in studios and little recording sessions and even big recording sessions, it was kind of like, hearing yourself for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You're going like, suddenly, if you're honest with yourself,
mm-hmm.
if you don't kid yourself, you go, man, I have this as a strength. But boy, I have this, that, and that as a whole in my game. Those are some real weak points that I need to work on. So that's what the difference was.
Yeah, there's nothing. I have students, and I tell them that you have to record yourself and stand back and just try to be objective, and you can actually make yourself better just by listening.
Absolutely,
and just working on your weak points and getting your time. And we were just having that conversation about time is the most important thing to me. Is if there's any flaw that guitar players have, that the unifying flaw is bad time.
I'll give you a good little Michael Jackson story.
Alrighty.
I'm out in the hallway one day and I pass him in the hotel, and he kind of slides up to me and he goes, "Hey man," he goes, he says, "You're a really great soloist, Oh, thanks, Mike. That's kind of taking that in stride and like, wow, that's really cool. He said, "I just wanted to ask you one question." And I was like, what's that? I thought he was going to ask me, like, how do you do this, that, or the other? He goes, "Why do you always try to get to the end of the song before everybody else?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, he says, it's not noticeable to somebody that doesn't do this." He says, "But," he said, "man, if you could learn how to not rush yourself," he said, "you'd be just ridiculous." So he gave me a little Yamaha drum machine. He says, "Take that and work with it." And that was really a mind-blowing thing for me because nobody had ever said that to me before. But, I have to go, it helped that it was Michael Jackson because, this is like so far beyond street cred. It's like,
yeah.
And, it really helped me a great deal. I feel like the strongest part of my game is my timing. Where it used to be the weakest part of my game.
Right. It's the toughest thing to get. It's so hard to, flow and just submit to a drum or a metronome or whatever, click track. Wow. So getting back, you played on the album, and I know Steve Lukather is also on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tour came about. That must have been mind-blowing because you guys probably had tons of rehearsals with the choreography and costumes and pedal boards and guitars and solos. What was that like getting ready for that?
It was like the music version of Camp Pendleton. We rehearsed 3 months. 3 months, 15-hour days, 7 days a week, no days off. And we did it in stages. First month was everybody broke up into little groups. All the guitars went to Tito's house, keyboards and whoever went to Randy's house, and we kind of all worked our parts out there. I'd never worked in anything that had broken stuff down to its smallest increment.
Right.
Then the second month, we got together as a band and played at a rehearsal studio over in North Hollywood. We did that for a month every day, just kind of banging it all out. And then the last month was the big sound stage with the full production.
Wow.
Yeah. And we ran the show 3 times, the entire 2-hour show 3 times a day.
Wow. Did they ever throw out? So it was all set up. There was no surprises. You guys knew what you were going to do, and it was all worked out.
Yeah.
No, there was nobody in the audience calling out the B-side from the second Jackson 5 album or something. No. Let's do it.
This really just kind of was a full frontal assault. It just just flattened the audience the minute the lights went up.
Yeah.
You know.
That I would be remiss, but if I didn't mention this, but in terms of like music journalism gossip, that tour has so much gossip going on. I don't know how much a part of you were that, but the family was having issues. The booking people made millions of dollars. People lost millions of dollars. Family problems between Michael and his family. Do you know anything about that at all? Were you part of that?
No, I never. I'm just a music guy. I'm like 1,000% about the music, and I tended to. Like every town we hit, the first thing I would do is look for the local music store and just see what's going on. Look in pawn shops and things like that. So I never really got caught up in all of the hearsay, the politics of the thing. I was just glad I was working, and I just wanted to do the best I could and represent as much as I could and learn as much as I could, and that's pretty much where I was at. I'm still that way.
That's awesome, man. That you just kind of use that. So tell me about this transition, because you do a lot of things. I can hear it. Even in your blues solos, I hear, and I'm an eclectic. I came out of blues, but I hear other things in your playing beside blues. But you're playing straight ahead blues now, but you're adding some really cool dimensions from some jazz and some funk ideas. Tell me about your decision to be a blues guy.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because really, I spent the better part of my career running like hell from the blues. And at some point, you just kind of come face to face with the truth of what's going on with you, And I realized that no matter what situation I was in, or what kind of amps I had, or what kind of tone, or how many notes I played, still at the core of what I did was the blues, and there was just no getting away from that. So I felt like my next step to really grow is I just had to embrace that, and maybe bring to the table all the things I had learned from other genres and other ways of playing, but it would still, sort of inform what I do. But at the core of what I do is, and always has been, the blues.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm very grateful to have you here. I'm a big fan. You play the shit out of the guitar, and I can't mess with that, man. Well, that's our show. Gregg Wright, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank our special guest Gregg Wright. Set mind to purpose and visit him at GreggWright.com. That's Gregg with 2 G's. Go forth, go to his website, and purchase every piece of music he has ever written. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Tone Concepts. Visit them at toneconcepts.com. Check out that distillery pedal. I am serious. Also, True Tone Music at truetonemusic.com. And last but not least, Mojave Ampworks. Visit the Oasis of Tone at mojaveampworks.com. Want to become a sponsor? Email me at oscarsguitarshop@gmail.com. Tune in next week when our guest will be Paul McCartney guitarist Brian Ray. Take care of yourselves. Be nice to each other. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Let me tell you a little bit about it, baby. You see, sunset is my rising and dusk my dawn. I seem to show no signs of life until the sun is gone. That's why they call me the nocturne. I come alive from dusk till dawn.